everybody. Good evening. It is Thursday, August 13th. It's the episode number 6 of Real Talk Bluegrass. And today I'm happy to have two amazing, extraordinary guitar players, singer-songwriters. Not only are they that, but they all have brand new albums out with their wonderful contributing bands that they are part of, Special Consensus, as well as Carolina Blue. Please welcome Rick Faris and Bobby Powell. Hey, guys.
Hey, Michelle.
Well, guys, it's so great to have you guys being part of Real Talk Bluegrass. I hope you guys are ready to get a little real, because we're not just going to talk about bluegrass. We're going to dig a little deeper into your souls. And have fun doing it. So first and foremost, of course, both of you are nominated for IBMA Awards this year. Carolina Blue nominated for New Artist of the Year. This is your second year being nominated. Of course, you have a brand new album out as well on Billy Blue Records that is called Take Me Back. You guys just had your album release event that was in person and virtual, right, Bobby?
Yes, we've been lucky through the COVID. We picked up a corporate sponsor throughout all this. It's a local restaurant in our town called Hog Wall Barbecue, and so we've been doing all our virtual concerts from their venue on Monday nights because they're closed. And when we decided to do our CD release party virtually, the owner said we can comply with the COVID regulations and offer about 20 folks to come in. So we sold 20 tickets, and we didn't have one single local person there. Everybody flew in. We had people from Michigan, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina. So it was really cool. And we sold out of the records that we had there that night. And, for those folks and folks ordering online. So it was different. It's this whole COVID thing has just been hard on everybody, but we've been fortunate that we've had some great success with online concerts. We're all really close together. We all live close to one another, so that's an easy thing for us to accomplish. So we've been really lucky in that regard.
Well, I'm glad, and I was able to catch part of it. I know we'll talk more about the album and that as well. But to welcome Rick, of course, you guys, Special Consensus, nominated not for just one, but 4 IBMA awards. Entertainer of the Year, Album of the Year for Chicago Barn Dance, the Song of the Year, title cut track, and the collaboration recording of the year for the same song as well with the Chicago Barn Dance. And Rick, this is going to be a great feeling coming out of your solo album as well into your band's brand new album. And celebrating Chicago in its whole and in its entirety, because that's where Greg is originally from, correct?
Absolutely, born and raised there in Chicago. Yeah, he's been there for so very long. I think they moved to town just after the fire. I think. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Anyhow, yeah, we're very excited about Chicago Barn Dance and everything that it's been doing. We're seeing it start to hit the airwaves and catch some support, and we're very excited about that. And the Rick Faris album, Breaking in Lonesome, I was just tickled with how well that has done, and looking forward to doing official showcase this year. At IBMA. Working that together, that's been a trick during COVID, but we actually haven't had gigs with Special Consensus. We have gotten together to play some online video for a festival, the CBA Festival, the Father's Day Festival out in, I think it's Grass Valley. But we did that, and that's been a couple months ago. So I've been playing every day with guitar, writing a ton of songs, playing for the baby, but we've just been enjoying life at home. And we've got our new little one who's 7 weeks old today, actually. So, just enjoying being a dad, getting that honey-do list ticked off. So,
well, that's one thing we got to congratulate you on that, because you guys welcomed Kent to the family. You have another son, Parker. How old is Parker? And I mean, this has got to be a huge adjustment, because I know there's a few years different.
Yeah, he is 10. And Parker, we wanted a kid pretty much immediately, another kiddo, but we started to recognize pretty early that some things weren't quite what we were expecting. When you read the what to expect when you're expecting, and we started noticing that Parker was having a few issues with some things, and we had him tested, and he had autism, has autism. So we wanted to make sure that we gave him every bit of an upper leg that we could. We really focused on his care and therapies that we needed to do. That's the big gap, but he's doing amazingly well. He's sharp as a tack, and just loving watching him fill that big brother role. He's doing so great. So it's been a blessing to be home during this time.
So, Bobby, what kind of advice can you give to Rick? I mean, I know you got a few kids of your own, and a few of them, I believe you had a daughter just had a birthday not too long ago.
My oldest daughter turned 23 today, and I'm so proud of her. She's such a kind soul. She's beautiful and creative and smart. And my youngest child is 6, so there's a big gap between that and Rick. My oldest son is also autistic. His name's Zachary, and he'll be 22 on his birthday this year. Yeah. And then I've got
I didn't know that. We need to talk some more after this.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly challenge. He's pretty high functioning, so but that's certainly, of course, a challenge. But I've enjoyed being at home as well. I missed a lot. My middle son just turned 16, and he's a phenomenal athlete for his school. And I know last year we were so busy that I got to see like 3 football games. So I was watching online and listening, and it's hard to miss those things. And so I've enjoyed being home. Of course, there's been no sports or anything happening, but I've just really enjoyed being with my family during this time as well.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the questions I was going to ask you guys is like, what have you guys been doing? I mean, obviously preparing for the albums coming out. It's been keeping you guys on your toes and getting you busy, but during COVID-19, it's downtime. I mean, obviously having a new baby is not really much downtime, but what have you guys been doing, outside of music? To keep you guys busy during this time, besides, along with visiting and being with your family during this time. Rick, how about you first?
Okay. Well, I've had a lot of fun, like I said, getting things done around the house, but I had a couple of cast iron benches that needed wood slats done on them, probably for, I don't even know if I want to say how long. They've been waiting for wood and finish to be done, but I was enjoying using the hand tools instead of all the big power tools that I have at the shop, which is about 30 minutes away at my folks' house. Just getting stuff done that honestly we've been so busy touring for so long that I just haven't been able to keep up on. Not getting a whole lot of sleep with the new baby, but really getting a ton of time to go out for runs with my son Parker, and now Kent. We got a stroller that's got the bike tires, we can haul it, but getting in bike rides and running and lots of songwriting. I've had a bunch of songwriting sessions with a good friend of mine, Rick Lane, and we've been writing a ton of songs, getting ready for a new Rick Faris record, hopefully in the spring, releasing. And building guitars, repairing a 1945 drill press, getting that ready for the shop because the other one I had wasn't as good. Just essentially doing nothing but work, but being home every night has been nice.
And Bobby, I mean, you guys have been busy, of course, getting this new album ready and set up and released, with everything going on. But outside of that, what keeps Bobby going? What keeps your mind going in the positive way?
Well, I have, for the past 6 years, I've been managing a landscape company in Asheville, North Carolina. And I couldn't tell you how many times in the past couple of years since we've gotten really busy that I've thought about giving that up. And I'm so thankful to the good Lord that I powered through that, because that's really kept my family going, financially through this mess. And we were lucky. Couple of our band members were able to draw on employment, so they have had some steady pay coming in throughout the summer. But like Rick, I'm a landscaper, and I've got the worst looking house on my street, so I've been able to do some work in the yard. And we did some planted some trees and some shrubs in the yard this year, and remulched it, and just hanging out with the kids, working the 40-hour week, and trying to rehearse. We've put this record out. We were still in the middle of the recording process when COVID hit, and our studio shut down, and for a couple of months we were just sidelined, and it pushed our release back a couple of months. We wanted to get our album out in time to make IBMA deadlines, and that didn't happen because of COVID, but that's okay. We were able to go back in May and wrap that up, and I really wish I had some time to. I wish I could say I've been writing a bunch of songs, but I've just been so busy with labor that I hadn't been able to.
Well, so the fact that you guys are both parents, and and of course, Rick, you've performed with your parents on stage with your family and everything growing up. But can you share with us one of the most memorable lessons you learned from your parents? Bobby, how about you first?
Just my poor little dad just turned 80, and up till about 10, 12 years ago, that man could still outwork me any day of the week. He could handle a shovel or a hammer like anybody's business. And my dad built houses for a living, and from my dad, just a work ethic. If you want something, you work hard for it. My dad's never had a credit card in his life. He thinks his mentality is, if I don't have the money to buy it, then I don't need it. And he's a really hard worker, and I just learned that from him. Just to set a goal and work hard to achieve that goal.
It's always wonderful. And Rick, how about you? I mean, like I said, your family has been in the business a long time, but whether it's business related or not, what is something that your parents, has left a memorable lesson for you?
Well, I think the one that really was the most profound. I mean, there were tons. Dad had the pearls of wisdom down. He was an avid reader of Mark Twain, and there was a lot of knowledge being thrown around. But the one that really struck me and stuck with me for a long time is, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So when I was younger and learning to play guitar, I was 7 years old, I think, and I had already kind of given up mandolin and fiddle. I didn't like them much, and Dad said, "It's like, well, you need to learn a C chord." And I'm like, "I don't want to. It hurts." And it's like, yeah. And he said, "Well, you know what? It's like, whether you think you can or you can't, you are right." And we're about to be joined right here. What's up? Parker, can you say hi? Hi.
Hey, Parker.
Hi, Parker. Well, and as we're saying hi to Parker, I thank everybody that's already joining us, like Rick, Steve, and Oliver. And that if you guys have questions, let us know. We'll do our best to pop them up in there and get them answered for you. Or our hitting man, Mr. Sammy Passamano, will take care of all that for us. But so as you guys are going down memory lane, what is something that instantly right now that you could think of, don't think too long, you smile from one of your memories? Rick?
Sorry, what was that? I missed the last little.
What is a memory of yours that instantly that you could think of that makes you smile?
From special consensus?
Anything.
Anything. Oh, well, I don't know if this was going to be asked later, but one of my favorite stories about us with Greg Cahill is we were up in Pennsylvania at a bluegrass festival, and we're always up to nefarious things and having fun with each other, pulling practical jokes. But we pulled the Sprinter up to the Porta-John when Greg went into it, and we pinned him in. He couldn't get out. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have to record this. And so we got videotape and everything. And eventually he's like, you see the door go bang, 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 bang. I was like, okay, we better back it up or he's going to bang up the front. And then he's really going to be upset. And he came out, and oh man, he was so angry. He was just like, where are you guys, But we had such a fun time, and he laughed. He came out laughing, and he was red as all get out. But when he saw the video footage, he about died laughing. And he's like, yeah, you got to put that up on Facebook. So we're all really good sports, and we dish it just as much as we get it. So we have a ton of fun.
That's good. That's good. Got to keep it light. Got to keep it light and having fun.
Indeed.
How about you, Bobby?
Something that I love and it always makes me smile is all my kids play sports, and I love watching them compete and play. We're really competitive. Now, my youngest daughter Ava is 6, and every night we play Trouble. The game where you pop the bubble and move around, try to kill each other and get around the board. I mean, we do this every night, and she is ruthless about trying to kill me and make sure I don't get around that board. So that's not the memory, but I'm just explaining how competitive the Powell household is when it comes to games and sports. But I guess my son was playing Little League, and up until the time Carolina Blue got too busy for me to do this, I coached in our county Little League in our recreation park, and I was coaching third base, and when he hit his first home run, and I remember I was running with him when he came around third. I was running, and when he got to home plate, he came and we hugged, and I picked him up, and that's just something that makes me smile. That first home run,
Oh yeah, I know that feeling. I played sports my whole entire life, man.
Me too.
So whether this is something musically or just personally, what's something that inspires you guys the most in your life, Bobby?
I tell you, my wife inspires me daily. I don't talk about Kayla a lot when I'm doing interviews and things, but she's the mother of my youngest. We've been married for 9 years this year, but so she's not the biological mother of my other kids, but I had custody of my other kids, and she came in and she's raised these kids. She left her career to be a stay-at-home mom when she had her baby. And I mean, it's really inspiring to me how she, puts the things that she loves aside to serve us, and she's just got a servant's heart, and that really inspires me every day. She doesn't get enough credit. I certainly couldn't do what I do with my music if it weren't for her. So that's something that inspires me every day. I think about that every day.
And Rick, what inspires you?
Oh, you're 100% right, Bobby. And I can't talk enough about my wife. I regularly bring her up in interviews because I would not be here without her. When I was the Faris family had decided that we were going to curtail things and stop touring because my brother Eddie had been hired by Ricky Skaggs and Kentucky Thunder. And we had some replacements for a little while, but it just wasn't the same. And when we decided we were going to disband, we had several months' notice. And I went looking for a job, talked to some friends, and I found out that Greg Cahill was auditioning mandolin players. I was not a mandolin player. And I played guitar and dobro and banjo, but Greg said, well, we'd love to have you. You're a great singer. Can you play mandolin? And I was like, I can't. But I said, but I'll give it a try. I put in the CD that I'd had for a while of Special Consensus, the new record, And I got to the first fast song, and I was like, what in the world am I thinking? This is a terrible idea. And my wife said, can you just give yourself some credit for 1 second? Like, can you just try, okay? She was, I think she was 6 or 7 months pregnant at this time with our first. And she was working a full-time job as a ZMS manager at Walmart, so she was over 12 different departments. Pregnant as all get out. And she said, I will do the house, cleaning, cooking, whatever. I'll take care of everything if you just lock yourself in that office and learn how to play mandolin, because we need you to get this job. And, I cannot, I've not met anybody else who would do something like that. When I'm full of some self-doubt occasionally, she's always there to say, look, you can do this. You just need to do it. And she is absolutely my rock and my inspiration.
What made you guys both to decide to get into music? Was it because, for you, Rick, was it because your family was in the business and you felt that was like the direction that you really were supposed to go to be in the business?
When we first started, it was just kind of like falling out of bed for us. Dad always was a professional musician. He played with Reba McEntire in the 80s. He was a touring musician when we were really little, and he gave all that up when we started asking, where's Dad? 4 boys just weren't running around and driving Mom nuts. He decided to give that up and come home. And just about the time he thought he was giving music up, period, is when we started to get interested in it. We went to an occasional bluegrass festival, and he would come here.
We have to fill the hot air balloon.
The hot air balloon. Okay, hang on. Daddy's telling a story. Can we sit here quiet for just a second? Okay. So, or go if you want. Sorry. So we saw the Bob Lewis family in Missouri, and they were a family band. They were probably 8 or 10 years older than we were, and we're like, hey, why aren't we doing that? Like, we're a family, what gives? And Dad started teaching us. Like, well, okay, well, if you're interested, and we had a talent contest at school, and we wanted to all do something individually. Dad said, well, why don't you do something together? You guys could be a band. And we learned I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor. that was our breakaway song, And we had such a fun time in front of our peers there at school. It was kind of addicting right away. And, Dad was like, well, okay, we'll see what the boys say they want to do it. He booked a tour. And I remember I was like 13. And Dad said, it was like I just hauled off and hit Muhammad Ali with everything I got. And he just looked at me and smiled. Because he was expecting us to be like, oh, man, no, we can't do this. This is hard work. And we were like, let's do more. Come on. So it was literally like falling out of bed for us. We were just, I don't know, I guess born to be on stage. We have too much fun with it.
That's good. That's good. How about you, Bobby? When did you realize that you want to do more than landscaping?
Every day. No, my story's a little different than Rick's. I started attempting to learn to play guitar when I was 18 years old. I graduated high school, but I grew up loving music. My mom was a big country music fan, and I remember she had a radio on top of the fridge in the kitchen that stayed on all the time. And I mean, this was in the 80s. This when country music was still good. You had Skaggs on there and still playing George Jones on the radio. So I grew up, woke up listening to that. I loved it. I loved all kinds of music. But in high school, I started dating this gal, and her best buddy played in a bluegrass band. A girl, she was a girl, played mandolin in a bluegrass band. And so we would follow them around the area here and go to all their shows, and I bought all their albums and stuff. And that's what really got me started loving the music. And from there, I got into Seldom Seen and Osborne Brothers. Alison Krauss was big at that time. I just got into all that stuff. And when I was a senior in high school, I don't know, it's been so long I can barely remember. But the last few weeks of the year, you don't really have to do anything. And there was a couple of dudes, and then the girl I was telling you about, I graduated with her. And so they were bringing their guitars to school and just hanging out at the field house or in the auditorium or wherever, just jamming. And I was there, and I decided I wanted to learn to play the guitar. And so when graduation rolled around, I got a bunch of money, and all the family was giving me cards with $20 or $50. And I went over to Asheville and bought me a Yamaha guitar that had a neck on it like a 2x4. And I bought a little book that showed me how to make the chords, and I started trying to learn. And fortunately for me, my dad's brother lived right next door, and he played banjo and guitar and about anything with a string on it. And so he helped me out a whole lot. And I just started slowly learning, and that was in June. And by fall, I'd started playing with a local gospel quartet. And it was there that I met Tim Jones, and we've kind of been picking music together ever since. So it's been a little bit of a whirlwind. I wish I'd started as a youngster. Maybe I'd be a better player. But as far as knowing that this is what I wanted to do, it's always what I wanted to do, When I figured out I wasn't going to make it playing baseball, I wanted to play music. So it's always been a dream of mine, and I'm so grateful for Carolina Blue, and that we've been at this band. It's our 13th year as a band, and we're finally starting to get somewhere with it, I feel like. And I'm just so thankful to you, Michelle, and anybody out there that's played our music. I remember those early days trying to book shows, and nobody knew who we were, so it's hard to book shows. And when you DJs started playing our music a little bit, we were able to start booking some festivals, and here we are. It's like a little snowball when you start rolling it down the hill, and it just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't know, man. I don't know where the times went. It's just I just feel really blessed to be where I'm at today. It's been a dream come true.
So has Timmy been growing his hair to get to that length since you met him back that day?
Let me tell you something. He's not here right now. I don't know if he's watching. Don't really care. I'm going to say it anyway. Now, when we started this band, Timmy Jones wore a military crew cut, and that's all he would wear. So I never would have thought in a million years that he'd have long hair. But and I started out giving him a little hard time about it, and then I felt guilty, so I've kind of slacked off on that. I'll make a remark here or there on stage, but these little old ladies at the festival, son, they love it. They're like, "Don't you fuss at him because of that hair? It's so pretty. Don't you ever cut your hair, son." I mean, he's starting to look like Crystal Gale with a goatee. Honestly, it's getting long. I love him though. He knows I love him.
So Rick, we got a question for you about Greg. Because it seems like every day is Greg's birthday. What the heck's what's going on there?
Oh, he's 97, and we feel like we should celebrate every day because we don't know how long we're going to have him.
Right.
No, he's 73, and the whole thing started with Timmy Dishman and Josh Williams and oh my goodness, Jamie Clifton, the Route 10 band. And so 2002, this has been going on since 2002. He's been dealing with this since then.
Wow.
And they at every restaurant they stopped at, I don't think they'd ever do it on stage, but just about every restaurant just about every restaurant that they'd stop at, they'd find the maitre d' and say, "Hey, it's Greg's birthday." And every time they went to the restroom or whatever, and it had kind of calmed down when there was a quick bunch of turnovers in let's see, it would have been around 2009, 2008, somewhere around there. Quite a few band members changed over, and it had calmed down, and he finally thought he was done with it. And then, let's see, Dustin Benson had his first kid, and he took a leave of absence for a few weeks, and we had Jamie Clifton come back as the temporary guy, to fill in. And that was the worst decision Greg could have ever made. Because instantly it was the bottle of Pendleton was brought on. And we were having a great time. And then all of a sudden, Happy Birthday came out. And we're like, oh, what's this? Oh, this used to be a tradition? What are you talking about? So he's been dealing with it now again for about 10 years since I've been in the group. So.
Wow. I mean, it's just always funny. You randomly start seeing people saying happy birthday. And, of course, Oliver had asked, why he's got so many birthdays. And that's pretty cool. It's funny, but it's like since you travel in different places in so many different states, you could definitely get away with that, I would think.
Absolutely. Hey, Ollie, I see that's my friend from Germany. So he also gets regularly birthday cake. I don't know why he complains about this, but he gets birthday cake more than anybody. I mean,
that's a pretty good deal right there.
That's a heck of a perk for a guy who's 87.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Waistline, but,
the way he plays the banjo, it comes right off.
That's right. He's got a lot of effort there.
So, if you guys could help me kind of understand something about yourself. A little bit more. What is your favorite thing about yourself, Bobby?
That's a tough one. I've got pretty low self-confidence, so I don't really have any favorite things. I don't know. I kind of, think that I'm a pretty good dad. I try to be anyway. I always try to be a good example for my kids, and even when I'm not with them, when I'm out in the public eye, I try to just always say and do things that would make my kids proud of me. So that I guess that would answer your question. I just always try to be a good example for my kids.
Do you think it's hard now for the fact I'll have Rick answer here in a minute, but do you think it's harder now because the fact that social media is so big? And everything pretty much everybody goes on social media, whether you post it or someone else posts it. Do you feel like you definitely have to, protect yourself and your family in that way as well?
Absolutely. And I've had these conversations with Kayla, my wife, about just being aware when you're posting on social media. A lot of people know that you're my wife, and she doesn't post things that shouldn't be posted, but it's just conversations that we've had. And I remember, I learned a few years ago to stay out of the political talk on Facebook, and I always keep that to myself. I posted some stuff that, on my personal page, and got some backlash from fans and even friends about it. So, that taught me the lesson with social media, and with my kids too. I don't allow. My son finally got a Facebook page. He just turned 16, and I allowed him to have a Facebook page. But my younger kids don't. They don't do social media. I let my daughter. I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and she does Instagram and stuff. But she always, if she's going to post a picture, she always checks with my wife or myself to make sure that it's okay if she puts that up. You have to be really careful with that kind of thing. And you're always. Rick knows this. You're always in the public eye when you're. I don't think I'm famous or anything, but thousands of people, thousands of friends on Facebook, and the band's got thousands of followers. People follow you, and then kids look up to you. People look up to you, and you just always want to be a good example for people.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, Rick? What's your favorite thing about yourself that you could share? Or really, I want you to share.
I'm kind of with Bobby. I think it's a musician's mentality to always be like, yeah, I suck.
Yeah.
Because a good musician, the way you get to where you are is by looking at where you suck. Like all the time. Like, okay, this G run is not good. I need to work on that. Okay, well, this rhythm sucks. I need to work on that. So there's a lot of self-analyzation that is always going on, and it causes this constant revolving door of self-analyzation and sometimes self-doubt. But I would say my favorite thing about me, although it's irritating for some people, namely my wife sometimes, is I'm always in the moment. No matter where I am, what I'm doing, who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to a fan, I try to just let the world fall away and pay attention to them. If I'm talking to my wife, I try to make sure that nothing else, is going to impede something. I try to give everybody everything I've got all the time. And I'm not always successful. You put me in front of a television, I'm like, I'm a TV bug, but I try not to ever be around them. But I try to always be in the moment, enjoying my time wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, whoever I'm talking to, and I try to look for the positive. That's what keeps me healthy.
So, you guys talk about like words and, what you say is, and being in the moment. Words can always take a different meaning whether you're saying it or how it's said. What is more important to you? Is it what is being said or how you say it? Rick?
I think they go hand in hand. You can deliver a great message with terrible, execution, and it's just not gonna carry the weight that you want it to. You've got to have the right message and you have to deliver it right. It's the same with music, I think. You can be the best lead guitar player in the world, but if you've got no rhythm guitar behind it, that's what you do 90% of the time. You're a terrible guitar player. So, and the same with singing. You can have beautiful lyrics, but if somebody sings it like a computer, who's going to want to pay $30 to see that? Right. I think both are key. Communication is one of the things I try to be very clear and very poignant every time I can be, because that's part of the reason why I hate texting so much, is because you cannot get the color, the flavor of facial expression, voice inflection.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like a two-part. So the fact that you guys are both in bands, that's a key thing, is communicating with your fellow band members. And I think, whether it's how you say it and what you say, I mean, it is going to really determine the relationship that you have with your fellow band members. And Rick, you've been in Special C for several years now. You've worked with numerous different artists in the band. And have had members leave and new members come. And I think, that's a pretty much a good way for folks to understand communication within the band is key, how you say it and what you're saying, but also to other bands as well, because they're human, they're individuals, and you're at shows, you're communicating and you're having and socializing with them at each event. So that kind of comes full.
Sorry, you cut out just a little bit. That it comes full circle, I think you said.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You have to be able to work on it, a relationship with a bandmate. It's essentially like being married twice. When you tour as much as we do, those folks that you spend the time with on the road, not only do you have to maintain a decent enough composure on stage to entertain people. Like if somebody's up there just like, you can tell they're not having a good time.
Yeah,
they're not going to brighten people's day or make them forget about their worries and cares for a little bit, which I think is key for music. It lifts us up out of whatever we're dealing with. But music can transcend past just individuals and become a unit. And to do that, you have to be on good terms. You all have to be heading in the same direction. You all have to want the same kind of thing, even if you have to come about it different ways. Like, you've got to be marching towards that same goal, even if it's as individuals your own way. But so I think you have to spend just as much time honing those relationships and those bonds, you know, you have to care, and you have to be accountable to yourself and to others.
Right.
It's not just playing on stage. That's the easy part.
Mm-hmm.
It's being in a car for 23 hours. That sucks. But it's part of it, you know. When we were touring regularly, I would get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would get a shower, run out the door, you know, with my suitcase and guitar, hop in the car, drive an hour and 10 minutes to the airport, get on an hour plane ride to Chicago or Nashville, then get in the Sprinter and drive anything from like 20 minutes to 15 hours to get to the first gig. And then, you know, like that's just to get there. So that's the job, you know, playing for people and having a smile on your face and in your heart. That's always been easy for me because I enjoy visiting with people. I enjoy playing music.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
How about you, Bobby?
I agree with everything that Rick said. You've got to be able to get along, and I think that really played it for us in the hiring process. We've had to change members a few times, and I feel like that a few times we didn't make a good hire, and just like with our fiddle players, Ainsley, who plays fiddle for us now, is a perfect fit for us. But the guy who preceded her was not, and we didn't really vet him like we should have. You've got to Carolina Blue. Honest guys, it's like I'm not lying at all. We're like one big family. We razz each other. We give each other a hard time, but we lift each other up too. We spend a lot of time together. I spend just as much time with those guys when we're touring as I do at home with my family. So it's really important. You know, there's been times when things have been a little tense, and that sure shows on stage. It's hard to enjoy what you're doing when there's things that are going on that, you know, that might affect you negatively. So we try to, if there's, we've learned this, that if there's a problem, let's go ahead and air it out and get work through it before we get up there. Cause we want to, you know, give it our best shot when we want to give our best effort when we're on stage in front of a crowd. I agree 100% with what Rick said.
So if you, as we're talking about bands and about being in the band and traveling in the vans and the vehicles and things like that, obviously personal space is very limited. So what do you guys do? What do you guys do to help keep the strength of, you know, your temperament and finding that personal space when it's possible? Bobby, how about you first?
Well, we purchased an RV in the spring of last year, and that really helped with that. We've also got a female in our band, which, you know, she needs her personal space when it's time to get dressed for the show. So it's important, you know, if we're multiple days at a festival, you know, we might work together, be together, but you know, when we're not playing, after we're done with the merchandise area, we might go our separate ways and just get a little alone time. But I think that's important, you know. And usually when we're traveling down the road, we'll talk and have a good time with each other for an hour or two, and then it's like everybody's got their headphones in and they're listening to their music or watching. Timmy's always driving, so he's always listening to Del McCurry or AC/DC, one of the two, usually when he's driving the rig. But you know, and I'll be watching Netflix with my headphones in, or you know, listen to a game if my son's playing. You know, everybody likes their space, and it's important. It's important.
It is. How about you, Rick? What do you guys do?
Oh, well, it's very similar. You know, when we are driving, sometimes, you know, we're really committed to visiting. And sometimes I think this is what's really great about this particular band is we're okay that there's some silence occasionally. you know, we're
Is that
kind of
because Greg's hearing aids aren't up?
we're
Is that
kind of
because Greg's hearing aids aren't up?
yeah. No, you know, one of my favorite things to do when I'm driving actually is to listen to an audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys are always game for that because I mean I try to pick some really interesting stuff, but I like classic literature, and you know I also like Sherlock Holmes and whatever Tarzan of the Apes, but you know so there's a lot of things to draw from that'll entertain other guys, but it's same with me. Like if it's not Del McCurry, it's Leonard Skinner or you know whatever Johnny Lang, so somebody that's really got some electric prowess. But I started running to get some time away from people, and I kind of enjoyed it a little too much when I started. I was up to 13 miles within like 4 months, which is way too fast to build up mileage. But so I got shin splints, which is unfortunate, but had to go for walks then to get some alone time. But you know, finding a vocation like reading, you know, people don't interrupt you unless it's a necessity. If you got a book in front of your face, but yeah, knowing that people just need space sometimes and not taking it personally. I think having enough security in your own self that hey, you know, I'm an interesting person, and if somebody doesn't want to talk to me, it's fine. You know, people need space sometimes. So yeah, you get used to that, but it's tough when you first start touring with people and you're not used to it. It's like a new set of clothes you ain't used to wearing yet.
Yeah, so, that's
right. So speaking of clothes, I mean, you guys both have great styles. You know, obviously Bobby doing the relaxed look tonight, which is good. And you know, like Rick said, he hasn't worn the hat for several months, so you know, it's his signature look, just like you have your signature look. Carolina Blue has their signature look, and so does Special Consensus. How do you guys decide, and who decided to, you know, make that presence, make that decision to, hey, we have to really make ourselves, you know, be professional looking on stage, and you know, come off the stage and you know, relax, and kind of make that impact in your shows, because I think it changes how you perform and how you interact with the fans, on and off. Bobby, how about you? How did Carolina work?
When we first started, you couldn't pay Tim Jones money to put a suit on. Honestly, he wanted to wear jeans and boots and button-down shirts, and that's fine. But we were working for Roy Chapman here in North Carolina, and I'll never forget this. Roy said, "Boys, you should always dress better than the folks who are paying admission to come and see you." And I believe that. You know, Monroe did that. I've heard some stories from Mike Fagan and Blake Williams, you know, that he expected them, even if they had an off day, to be wearing their cowboy hats and dressing like show people. But it got serious when we started, you know, hitting the festival circuit and getting out there around America a little bit. You know, we weren't a hat act then. We wore suits and ties, and I'm a little embarrassed to say that my hair started falling out when I hit my late 30s. So, and I wasn't about to be a shiny cue ball up there. So I decided that I'd get a hat, and Tim likes hats. He's a cowboy. So we got hats, and when we hired Ainsley, I think that put us into another level about she coordinates all our dressing. You know, we'll be getting ready to go out on the road tomorrow, and we'll get a text saying, "Okay, guys, we're going to wear the black suits and red ties tomorrow." So my battery's dying. I may have to plug my phone in here. But she coordinates our dress, and she does a good job with that. Yeah, but I mean, it just all stems back to respecting your audience and wanting to look good for them and entertain them. You know, I believe the audience likes seeing the band dressed up. I don't think an audience, because I don't like going and listening to a band that's wearing ripped up jeans and T-shirts. I don't have anything against it, but You know, if it's, you know, between watching that or watching a bunch of guys that are wearing suits and taking their job seriously, I choose the guys in suits 10-1.
Right. Yeah, exactly. How about you, Rick? You got the flair going.
Yeah, well, that kind of came from my dad. We always wore suits, you know, except for when we were like really little kids. Like when I was like 10 or 11 or 12, like we all coordinated, but it was polo shirts and khakis because we were kids, man. We couldn't stand the heat.
Sure.
We'd sit there and just complain the entire time. But when I got into Special Consensus, the outfits were different then. It was just you know, some nice shoes and some dress jeans, dark, and you know, like just a nice button down shirt. But Greg's been you know, making music since Jesus walked the earth, so they've gone through some band changes in terms of, like, bolos were popular once upon a time, and you know, real skinny 1980s ties, you know. But Greg's always, you know, changed with the times, but always had a look about the band. And you know, when I joined the band, I started wearing ties because I've always loved wearing ties. I like to learn different knots to make them look unique. Even a simple tie with a cool knot really dresses it up. But I love wearing a vest. I love wearing a tie. Always have. And I think when I started wearing ties, everybody else was like, well, all right, then we're going to wear ties tonight. You know, but we always have taken pride in looking good because, you know, I don't remember who said it, but people hear music with their eyes.
That's
Since
right.
MTV has come, you know, it's no longer radio. You know, people hear music with their eyes, and if they're impressed with what they see, they're going to be more apt to listen to what they're hearing. And, you know, you look at who's doing well in the business. Del McCurry, you know, there's not many folks doing much better than Del McCurry. Del is always in suit and tie. The boys look great. Rhonda Vincent's always wearing a nice dress. The boys are color coordinated or whatever. You know, people, when they take themselves seriously, they're going to be taken seriously.
It's so true. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, well, like Bobby said, you know, you want to make a presence on stage that, you know, that shows you've paid X amount of dollars to come to this festival. I'm maybe here for, you know, 45 minutes only, or I'm here for 2 45s, but you have to leave them with an impression of you as an individual and as a whole, as you're in part of a band. I think that's a key thing. And, you know, that right there kind of explains why you guys are nominated for what you're nominated for the 2020 IBMA Awards. Again, Rick Faris nominated with Special Consensus for Entertainer of the Year, Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Recording of the Year, Collaborative Recording of the Year for you know, Chicago Barn Dance on the last 3, and, you know, a year that there's ties in Album and Entertainer of the Year, and you guys are in there in those 2 categories. And of course, Carolina Blue, your 2nd year being nominated for New Artist of the Year. And both of y'all have amazing projects out. Of course, Compass Records is the house of Special C's, Chicago Barn Dance with Allison Brown, and Billy Blue Records with Carolina Blue, and, you know, everything that, you know, Jerry Salley has done for Billy Blue Records, and, you know, it just kind of mirrors what Allison has done with Compass Records. And then, of course, Stephen Mogen and Yana with Dark Shadow Recordings, and that's where Breaking in Lonesome is on. You guys have definitely been keeping you guys self busy, and that. But, you know, as you think about how you've been staying busy, and here we are, we're getting ready for the virtual World of Bluegrass Week. And of course, Rick, not only are you showcasing, but Special C is as well. So you guys are going to be very busy that week. And, you know, preparing for the virtual World of Bluegrass, I think, is a unique thing because of the fact that social media has really stepped up in the platform for artists to keep their music alive besides radio, because you're staying socially active with your fans. And Bobby, I mean, like you guys with your album release party, and you guys do your monthly shows and events that kind of, you know, are tying it all in. Keeping your guys' name and your face out there is a key thing. You guys also just premiered on Bluegrass Music TV the video for one of the songs on the album, Bet to Plow.
Yeah,
That,
that's our new single there.
so there you go. I mean, people got to check that video out. That's for sure. And, you know, as you guys are, you know, getting prepared for what's ahead in the next month and a half, and you look at what's gone on because of COVID-19, how do you envision what you guys can do as individuals or as a whole as a band to keep things strong for your fans? What else can you do? Rick?
You mean just at IBMA, or are you talking just period?
Just period.
Yeah. Well, you know, I started doing something, and when it got close to Baby Kent being born, I've slacked off, but I need to get back on it. I started doing Want to Hear Wednesdays, and I would interact with folks. They'd suggest a song for me to learn, and it didn't matter the genre. And we, you know, was getting anywhere between 30 and 55 submissions a week, and we'd put it in a like a spin the wheel generator, and it would figure out what we were going to do this next week. And I had a lot of fun learning those tunes, and it was a challenge. It got my ear, you know, used to listening to different music and really trying to figure it out. But also, there's fun. It's never going to be a polished thing like if I would put it on stage. But I mean, I've got a week to learn it. What do you expect? But the whole thing is finding a way to interact with folks and still have a moment with them when I can't see them personally.
Right.
Because I do love to visit with folks and catch up with them, see how they're doing, ask how their parents are doing, or what have you. You know, and I find that I have a real hard time getting on Facebook just because there's so much media, if you want to call it that. But there's a lot of stuff being thrown around that just kind of brings me down and into a dark place, and I don't like that. So I love to answer messages. I love to put out content that I can interact with fans and friends and family, and not just the whole world that's on Facebook.
Right.
I love to meet with folks and interact with them, but kind of not on the world's terms, on Bluegrass's terms.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Totally understand that. How about you, Bobby?
Well, I mean, Rick's right. I think for any genre of music in this present day, social media is key. Our band started gaining popularity right as, you know, the social Facebook was getting popular, and we've always tried to capitalize on that. We're all right here together so that we're able to get together and do these live shows. And we started it out once a month. And, you know, I see stuff on there like bands are getting on there every day or twice a day. And, you know, I feel like it's a little bit of overkill. We really didn't want to do a twice a month thing, but, you know, we were getting to the point where we needed to make some money. So, we went from once a month to twice a month, but it's just figuring out a way to engage your fans. About a year ago, Carolina Blue started an e-newsletter called The Blueprint, and I think that was really great. And we use that as a way to put more personal things in. You know, we'll put stuff about what's going on with the band, but, you know, I'll put stuff in about, you know, my kid slam dunked his first, got his first dunk in a basketball game last week, or Timmy's like, you know, I killed 2 hogs this week and we got plenty of meat put up, you know, just stuff, personal things, because I believe that people, you know, I feel like that the people we meet, just like Rick Lydiaco, you know, met him a few years ago at IBMA, and now I consider him a close friend and a buddy of mine, and we'll talk on the phone, we'll text each other, And I feel like I like to get personal with people. I like to get to know people, and I want people to know me. And just social media. It's about all we've got right now, as far as interacting with our fans is social media.
Yeah,
Indeed.
exactly. So talking about getting a little personal. Here we go. I'm gonna ask you guys something personal. Do you guys have any tattoos? And if you do, what's the meaning? Bobby?
I knew you were going to call on me first. Yeah, I've got a tattoo. And I'm not going to show it to you, but I've got one.
It's in that space, huh?
Yeah, this is personal. Back in my younger days, I was running with my high school buddies, and we was drinking a lot of beer and liquor back in them days, and we'd had a pretty hard night drinking and partying and having fun. And my two buddies that I was with were going to go they decided they wanted to go get tattoos. And I didn't want a tattoo. My mama had threatened my life if I got a tattoo. She hated tattoos. Okay. So I was a little scared, but I was still pretty ripped when we got to the tattoo shop. And Lord, it's as embarrassing to even tell people I was drunk, but I was pretty drunk. And so we were in there, and of course, peer pressure took over. And my best buddy, Jeremy Owen, he's like, "Man, I really think you should get a tattoo. We're all best friends, and we're getting them, so you ought to get one." And I'm like, "Well, dude, I don't really have the money to get one. I spent all my money on booze." And he's like, "I'll tell you what, if you'll get it, I'll pay for it." And I said, "All right. What are we going to get?" And he said, "Well, if I'm paying for the thing, you've got to let me pick it out." And I said, "Okay." And so he got to flipping through a National Geographic magazine, and I've got a nice tattoo of a longhorn sheep on my arm, which it could have been a lot worse. It could have been one of those ladies with all rings in her neck or something, but it was a longhorn sheep. I was able to keep that thing hid from Mama for a couple of weeks, and then when it got all healed up and wouldn't hurt me anymore, I walked out of my bedroom without a shirt on one day, and she saw it, and my poor mama cried for 2 weeks at least over that. And I've hated the dad blame thing ever since. I'll never get another one. Don't have a thing in the world against tattoos, but I remember how much it broke Mama's heart that I got it. And I'm so embarrassed to let everybody know how I was out boozing the night before. But I don't do that anymore. But there's my story. Sad but true.
That's a good.
How about you, Rick?
Yeah, so I'll no. No, I don't have any tattoos. I had some wild and crazy friends, but I never really got wild and crazy until I got hired by Greg Cahill.
Right.
No,
yeah, we'll go with that story.
No, I guess I was never drunk when I was drunk around a tattoo parlor, but
don't get drunk around a tattoo parlor.
No, I had 3 other brothers to encourage me, but also dissuade me when it was a really bad idea. And Greg, we're all about having fun, but never to the point of stupidity. So I've had some really great role models, and I never did walk away with a tattoo. But my wife says that the only tattoo she would let me have is a to-do list, so I could remember to do it. I have a terrible memory, except for directions. If I've gone anywhere one time, I can get back there, even in the dark. Like, it doesn't matter. I've got an incredible sense of direction and a good memory for that. But you say something, and 10 minutes later, I'm like, now what was that?
So Rick and I, of course, are the 2020 class of Leadership Bluegrass, and one of our best class ever, exactly. And one of the biggest discussions that were going on during Leadership Bluegrass was the genre of bluegrass and the subgenres of bluegrass. Bobby, you guys play. You have your sound. You guys have your today now traditional sound, of course, and Special Consensus has their sound of bluegrass. And how do you guys feel about the different subgenre of bluegrass and the different varieties, from the contemporary to the today's and yesterday's traditional, to the new grass, to the jam grass, mixing that in with the old time music? And I mean, how has that impacted what you guys do and how you guys decided to do your style of bluegrass, Bobby?
Well, I mean, we love Bill Monroe, but I'm telling you right now, we're not trying to copy Bill Monroe. I think, it doesn't matter. You got to do your own thing. And you've got to be happy with what you're doing. I feel like there's room at this table for everybody. I don't want to copy what anybody else is doing. If we cover a song, we're still going to put our little twist on it. We're not going to try to copy anybody. Woody Platt, who plays guitar for the Steep Canyon Rangers, is a close friend of ours. He produced our first record, and he told us, you're not going to make it singing other people's songs. You've got to sing your own songs, which is why we've always tried to write our own stuff. But I like it. It doesn't have to be traditional bluegrass for me to enjoy it. I love it all.
Right.
I think there's so many talented people in our business today, and I love the diversity in it. I love that when Special Consensus comes on, I know it's Special Consensus. And I hope that when Carolina Blue comes on the radio, people know that they recognize us because of our sound. I've also got my beliefs that that Mr. Monroe created this music. He's the father of it. He created it, and I feel like that he had a template that for what he thought the music should sound like. And what we're trying to do with our music is stay within his template, but we're doing our own songs. We're just trying to do them, within the template that he created. And people that are getting outside that template, that's fine too. That's what they're trying to do, and we're trying to do our thing and love it all, man. We gotta support each other in this and lift each other up, and not beat each other down. Because there's room for everybody. We're a big family. We need to act like it.
Well, I think that the great part of being diverse in the genre of music, and obviously for a radio host, it's amazing because you can mix it all together and blend it together, and you wouldn't even skip a beat. And I think that's the key thing for festivals when they're hiring bands, the promoters. They want that uniqueness because you want to draw in the fans, and the way it's going to be drawn in is drawing in all and bringing in the artists that give you that great mixture. And Rick, we experienced some heated discussion during Leadership Bluegrass on this topic. Yeah. And how was your view on this? Because obviously we touched base, but a lot of others in the class were definitely kind of mind blowing for me. I mean, it was amazing to see how everybody was feeling.
Yeah. Variety is the spice of life, and I've always maintained that variety creates interesting products. You want to stay true to a genre of music, or you should say it's something else. But there's nothing wrong with a musical genre having boundaries pushed, because there's a lot of beautiful things created when different influences come in. I would say Special Consensus has had a variety of influences over the years, especially since Allison Brown has started producing the records for Special. But really, I mean, the quality just had to be there. It didn't matter necessarily where the song came from. I mean, we've done Big River, which is a Johnny Cash classic. It's an amazing. Way to go!
Sorry about that. My phone was dying and my charger wasn't working, so I'm going to come out to the car and see if it'll charge up while I sit in the car.
Hey, can you go get me a double cheeseburger while you're at it?
I'm thinking about getting one of those. Yeah.
Hey, has that ever happened, Michelle? Anybody ever gone for takeout while we're here?
No, but they should. That's correct.
I'm going to Dairy Queen. That's it. I'm off the diet. No, but it's I love listening to Larry Sparks and Ralph and Earl, listening to Bill Monroe, Kenny Baker. But then I love listening to somebody else just completely bend and contort things in a different way. I loved listening to Tales from the Acoustic Planet from Bela Fleck. I mean, man, you talk about just great music that's heartfelt, that moves you. I don't feel like we have to put it in a box. It'd be great if it wasn't like in a different factory, but I listen to blues and I love listening to metal, rock, jazz. I love gypsy jazz. So I've got a diverse palette. Not everybody does. Some people like to listen to the same 5 songs over and over and over again, and that's cool. Yeah. But they're going to go see those bands, those festivals, and that's cool too. Like, what I'm saying is, my personal belief is that things should be interesting. Nobody should sound like exactly like somebody else. Otherwise, one of us is not needed.
That's right.
But Bob Wills did have 5 different bands during the war. I don't know if you've ever read a biography of Bob Wills, but he had a reputation for having a drinking problem. But because they'd go into a festival or whatever, and one of his cousins or a brother, but anybody who had the last name Wills could front a band. And they'd say, well, Bob's feeling a little under the weather, but I'm his brother Bill, or cousin Bill or George or whatever, and we're going to play some music for you. So get your dancing shoes. Here we go. And then they jump right into it. They're like, oh, yeah, he's a little under the weather. But he fronted 5 or 6 bands and kept over 50 musicians employed during the Great Depression and the wartime era. Wow. So, man, there's that. They were all playing the same material, but it's because they were trying to keep musicians employed during a hard time.
Sure.
I think Bob Wills had a sound. Bill Monroe had a sound. Larry Sparks has a sound. I think the reason those people are who they are is because they don't sound like anybody else.
That's right.
Del McCoury regularly pushes the envelope of bluegrass, and it doesn't get any more traditional than Del McCoury's voice.
That's right.
He is my favorite bluegrass singer. And then maybe right behind him is Larry Sparks. I mean, those cats, oh my goodness. I love listening to trad music. I love listening to everything else too.
So if you can, Rick, tell me right now, if you could think about it without looking, what is the last song you listened to? An artist or artists and.
It actually was Del McCoury, My Love Will Not Change, but that's because I'm getting ready for a wedding, and I was sitting there, finding love songs in bluegrass and beyond to play at the wedding. But, before that, actual just listening to an artist, it was Johnny Lang, Lie to Me album, and it's just because that's my go-to running soundtrack. Love it. It's good stuff. If you haven't heard it,
how about you?
Phenomenal record. And he was like 16 or 17 when he cut the record. It's just so good.
Wow. How about you, Bobby? What's something that was the last thing you listened to?
The last song I listened to was by my favorite bluegrass band ever, the Nashville Bluegrass Band. And
yes.
Tear My Stillhouse Down. That's one of my favorites. It's on my Spotify list. And I was listening to that, and right before that, I was listening to my favorite country singer, Farron Young, singing Hello Walls. That's my favorite country singer, Farron Young. I mean, my Spotify list has got Dale on it. It's got She Took the Tennessee River on it, Special Consensus. It's got Buck Owens. I love Buck Owens. I love Farron Young. It's mainly bluegrass on my list, but I love classic country. I'm not a huge fan of today's country music, but I love the classic stuff. I love George Jones, love Farron Young, Buck Owens. Marty Robbins is a favorite of mine too. But Dale McCurry, of course, is not only one of my favorite, but Carolina Blues favorites. Dale's a big influence. We love doing those little twin mandolin and fiddle stuff like Ronnie and Jason Carter do. The song I wrote, "Grown Cold," I kind of tried to write a Dale McCurry song for Timmy to sing, and it's got a little bit of that flavor to it. Last thing is Nashville Bluegrass Band. They're my absolute favorites, man. Those guys knew how to pick and sing good material. They never did a bad song. Everything they did was awesome. They're my favorites.
Phenomenal arrangements and singing, man. It's good stuff.
The other thing that I kind of want to kind of deep and and ask you guys, of course, is as you look at your life, you think about it, you guys are fairly young guys, and if you if you can sit there and just watch your whole life in a movie and just see it how it's planned out to this point, Bobby, do you think you would enjoy it?
Up to this point, there's things I would probably like a do-over on. I mean, I'm not proud of every decision I've ever made, but I love where my life's at right now. Looking back on it, I'm a Christian, and so if I can shine that light for somebody else and show people the way and be a blessing to somebody else, I think I've got to be happy. I'm really happy. I'm just a poor country boy. We don't have a lot of material things, but we got a lot of love in our house, and the Lord lives in our house too. And I just want people to know that. I just want people to know that I'm a child of God. And if at the end of my life, if I could look back and if I could see that I've shown some people that, I'd be real happy with it.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Rick? Would you enjoy watching your movie?
Yeah. I'm only 35.
He's so young.
My short movie, I think, but but I think I would enjoy it, and I think it would be a story. I mean, I would hope of possibilities and encouraging. So, I grew up in a family band that had hard times, but we always had love, and we always had the Lord in the house. We started with, all gospel. We played in church a lot. We then, got into more secular kind of bluegrass, played all over the States. And then I switched and played another instrument I'd never played before. I didn't even know how to mic it. Like, it's okay, what's going to happen here? And then all of a sudden, momentum builds, and I learn, and it's empowering to know that you can learn something totally new, and you can do it at a professional level. If you want it bad enough, you got the fire, you got the opportunity, you can rise to that challenge. And I've been very blessed to have a phenomenal family around me from the get-go, and a loving family around me now, and tons of friends, fans, and professional relationships that have gotten me further than I ever thought I could go.
So
I feel very blessed. I think that would be one I would enjoy.
As you think about like what you guys do, you're amazing songwriters, amazing guitar players. If you could pick one of them and share that with the younger you, 10-year-old you, what would be the most important one out of the three would you share with your 10-year-old self?
We're getting some clicking. It's hard to hear you a little bit.
I didn't really catch that whole question, Michelle. Would you mind repeating that for me?
Yeah. So the fact that you guys are both amazing songwriters, singers, and guitar players, what is one, you only get to pick one that you would tell and kind of instill into your 10-year-old self to encourage yourself to do at 10 years old out of the three?
I would say songwriting. You know, I don't think of myself as a great songwriter. You know, I've written a few songs. That's something that I'd really like to do more of. Um, you know, just if I could go back, you know, I'd say pay attention to things. You know, really soak things in around you and write music, because you know those songs are going to be around long after you're gone. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you know, when we're gone, people can still hear our records, but our songs can live on forever if other people choose to record them. So I'd say for me, it would be the songwriting aspect.
How about you, Rick?
Um, I agree that songwriting, you know, it definitely is around long after you're gone. If anybody listens to it, which I hopefully they're listening to a couple of my songs, they're definitely on the radio. But you know, I got started in songwriting pretty young. I think I started writing when I was like 15 or 14. And you know, they weren't any good for a long, long time. But you know, the Faris family recorded several of them, and you know, I think if I had spent more time early on, I would have been better. You know, obviously, but you know, I got into it so early.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have told myself though that you know, having family, it takes a lot of time. You know, if I could have told myself, you know, 20 years ago, hey, you know what, eat, sleep, and live this right now, because as soon as kids come along, that's worth the distraction. You know, it's a lovely distraction. It's an amazing distraction. Uh,
Right.
but it is hard to get in practice time now. You have to make a concerted effort. You have to plan it, you know, into your daily time. But you know, uh, I would say, um, you know, I had so many hours jamming and hanging out and practicing. Um, if I could have had any more of that, I would have been super excited. But I feel like I've been blessed to have everything that I've had so far. So I don't know. That's tough. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. I probably songwriting, do a little more of that, but
Uh-huh. Well, as we're winding things down, I want to make sure you guys know I truly appreciate you guys giving me your time today. But again, Special Consensus nominated for 4 IBMA awards, and Carolina Blue nominated as well. Uh, Make sure you guys tune in World Bluegrass Virtual Week as Special Consensus. Rick Faris will be performing. Of course, Rick Faris has got his brand new album off of Dark Shadow Recordings. Breaking in Lonesome. I got it right there. Look at that stylish man there. And of course, Chicago Barn Dance with Special C. Folks got to go to their websites, snag those up. And of course, it's white and bright in here, so I apologize. There we go. It's somewhere in here. The Carolina Blues brand new album as well. Take Me Back. So, you know, you guys definitely take everybody back into a different time with the music you guys put together by songwriting and collaborating with your bandmates. So the one last thing I want to ask you is, other than me, who in your life do you wish you met sooner? Bobby?
Um, I could say there's a couple of people, but my wife Kayla, you know, I wish I'd met her about 20 years sooner. She's really been a blessing to me and is my biggest supporter. And I hope he's watching. But I've got a good buddy who's become a best buddy is Nick Chandler, and everybody knows me and him. We're pretty close, and we've gotten closer the last few years that we've known each other. And I remember being a young man going over to the Shindig on the Green in Nashville, which in Asheville, North Carolina, they do it at City County Plaza. It's a big jam session during the summer every Saturday night. And I remember as a young picker going over there, and I would just ease up and listen to Nick Chandler and Bobby Hicks and Mark Kirkendall and all these guys playing, and never would dream to, they were. I was in awe of those guys, and Nick's been a good friend, and we bounce ideas off each other, and we do a little gossiping and chit chatting about every day. But so I'd say old Nick and my wife Kayla. I wish I'd have met them both sooner.
How about you, Rick?
Well, actually, I met my wife in high school. Actually, no, I met her in 8th grade. But our music teacher stuck us right next to each other because she had perfect diction and was classically trained, and I grew up singing in a family band, and I learned to speak down in Arkansas, so I never opened my mouth. And he said, sat her right next to me and said, "You elbow him every time he doesn't open his mouth." So I met my wife really early. I'm super blessed to have known her for so long and had her by my side and enjoying our lives together. She has been the best blessing for me. But I would have to say 2 people. If I could have met them earlier, I mean, I know you said 1, but it would have to be 2 for me. Stephen Mogen, I met him when I was a kid, but he wasn't the Stephen Mogen he is today. Back then, he was playing with Valerie Smith and Liberty Pike with Becky Buller. I met them both at the same time. It was in Central City, Iowa, and I was I think about 13, I think. But I wish I could have met Stephen of today back then and been like, teach me everything. I mean, he was a great player and singer back then, but he wasn't taking on that teaching role that he is now. And then the other person I would say is my writing buddy, Rick Lang. Getting to know Rick Lang, he's also up for, I think it's Mentor of the Year for the special awards. So Rick is he is like chi embodied. He is very calm and relaxed, and everything just flows off. He's got a good sense of faith about him. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's an extremely good writer. And I feel like I've really clicked. We write every week together. Not only am I excited about what we're writing, but he's just a great guy to visit with, and I've really come to know him well, and he's a cherished friend. So I wish I could have met Rick much earlier. But, there's so many folks we meet. It's hard to label them as Paramount Pinnacle. I wish I could have met you earlier.
Well, you guys have seriously, it's been so exciting to be here with you guys and having you guys part of Real Talk Bluegrass. And, it's always fun to kind of get a little more real, step a little side away from the music, add the music in and everything. But want to encourage everybody to check out carolinablueband.com, billybluerecords.com, also Special Consensus and Rick Faris's websites, and also Compass Records and Dark Shadow Recording. All the great places that you could load up on all the great music. And again, Special Consensus nominated for 4 IBMA awards: Entertainer, Album, Song of the Year, Collaborative Recording of the Year. Carolina Blue nominated for New Artist of the Year. You guys, that just shows how much people truly love your music and what you do. And we cannot wait to see what the night will unfold during the virtual award show with the International Bluegrass Music Association. And, we encourage everybody to, again, follow you guys on social media and check out your guys' websites as well as, we wrap up things here with Real Talk Bluegrass. Bobby, Rick, thank you again for being part of the show.
Thanks you so much. It's great to see you again. Thank you for having us on here.
Well, it's been a blast. And again, the next episode is going to be August 27th, another wonderful Thursday evening. And we're going to do another husband and wife team kind of thing. And with Kenny and Amanda Smith and Lauren Price Naper and Scott Naper. So we're going to have another fun-filled bluegrass Real Talk Bluegrass coming up in 2 weeks. So hopefully folks will tune in. But, you know, I encourage you guys keep on doing what you're doing and keep us posted on everything and anything. And Rick, again, congratulations with Kent and everything that you guys are doing with the new baby. And Bobby, you guys got an amazing album. Both of you guys have amazing albums out. So we just wish you guys all the best with World.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Michelle.
All right, everybody.
You, buddy.
Thanks again for joining us for another edition of Real Talk Bluegrass. Hopefully you'll tune in not only to Real Talk Bluegrass on August 27th, but tune in tomorrow to the Smoke Country Jam, 10 to 2 Eastern Time on WOBLradio.com. And of course, you can't miss the Bluegrass Borderline Sundays afternoon at noon at WOBLradio.com. Have yourself a great one. Take care, everybody.
Take her easy.